Welcome back to another week as we talk about Elijah. Now, this is not really a story about Elijah, although he plays a part in it. This is about God, right? Every story in the Bible actually points back to God. Elijah has to go into hiding because the king is pretty mad that there's no rain. And he knows that it's not going to rain again until Elijah says so. So if he can find Elijah, then he can say, hey, make it rain. So Elijah goes into hiding and God sends him to a brook. A brook is some running water, right? So that he has something to drink. But then he's kind of in the middle of nowhere again. He can't go into town. He stays in hiding. Like, what is he gonna eat? A raven brings bread and meat to Elijah. So he doesn't have to worry about where he's getting his next meal. God is providing for him because he was obedient to what God called him to do. So eventually, the water in the brook dries up and he can't drink it from it anymore. God tells him to go to a city where he's already prepared a spot for him to stay with a widow. Now, a widow is someone whose husband has died. So there's a single mom and a kid, a little boy, and Elijah's gonna stay with them. So he tells her, hey, can I have some water? And she says, sure, here's some water. And then he says, thank you. Can I also have something to eat? And she says, actually, I'm just collecting sticks right now because I am about to make my last meal. Let's check out what goes on. So the widow says to Elijah, I only have a handful of flour left and a little bit of olive oil. Like, I'm going home to make my last meal for me and my kid. And Elijah says, go home and make it. And as long as you help me stay alive by feeding me, you will have enough. It won't run out. That's pretty miraculous. Let's see if we can make some bread. Remember this one from last week? Elijah. He's gonna help us mix it all together. Let's go talk about Elijah while we wait for this to bake. Let's talk about what happened with the raven. How cool is that? And birds just fly meat and bread to Elijah. He didn't know where his next meal was going to come from. He wasn't really hearing God speak any other things to him. He just knew there was going to be a drought. He said that to the king. And then he just had to wait and wait and wait. And God is taking care of this nobody prophet that he sent. And God's taking care of the widow and the son, right? The son ends up getting so sick that he dies. And because Elijah's there, Elijah prays over him and brings him back to life. There are miracles happening all over the place. And the proof that God is present even when he's silent, is a great message for us in this season. There are lots of uncertainties in our world right now. And to know and to take notice of God, in all situations, even when we don't understand what he's doing and what's happening, he's present. So let that be on your mind. And let's go take a look at this bread. I think it's time that we flip it now. So that's where King Ahab comes in super handy. Check it out. Well, guess it's a good thing that I wasn't feeding Elijah. I mean, clearly I'm not a baker. But what this does show me is I know that this isn't what God provided for them, right? But consistently, when things looked so bleak, when they thought that it was going to be the very last loaf of bread they ever ate, God came through. There was always flour and oil left over. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, if you're always using the last little bit and you don't know where your next meal is coming from, but it's still there, how does that happen? That just shows that God is providing for them, even in a time where he wasn't talking to them, right? They didn't know, but you could see God at work anyways. And that's pretty cool. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.